let me pull my little note up here on that.
Sure.
Do, 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 do. I don't know how I got lost. There we go. So yeah, like you were talking about how he has lost two elections, hasn't, really left power like he should have.
Right.
Do you think that the United States has any plans of taking significant action to change it?
Well, one would argue that sending all this military power into the region and buzzing the coast, suggesting that he stepped down, and the president suggesting publicly that Maduro will not be in power much longer, tells me that something's in the works.
Yeah, that's how I took it as well. I
Yeah.
definitely do you think that we'll have, I don't know if you want to say it, global support on something like this?
Well, you'll get the usual those who support and those who do not, lining up depending on their alliances and the like. And
Naturally.
so, Russia's already said, well, we'll send some missiles to protect you. That's more talk than anything else because they've got their own problems that they're dealing with, and they they're not going to worry too much about Venezuela, other than the fact, of saying something on the air, some sort of support. But I think folks will line up the way they always line up. There will be those in Latin America who dislike Maduro and see him as a threat to the region, and they'll support. There will be others who see this as a potential threat to them down the road if there's going to be an intervention in one way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be an invasion, by the way. It could be limited strikes on ports and military facilities and drug production facilities. But nonetheless, it's clear that some activity has been mentioned about intelligence agents going in to try and disrupt what's going on in Venezuela. And Maduro has said that he's arrested some that intended to do so. Whether or not that's true, don't know. But if there is something going to happen militarily, there is always some sort of intelligence gathering information and folks on the ground doing things too. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's happening.
No, that's it seems kind of like the inevitable, right? It seems like it's inevitably going to happen. I
Well,
remember, was it Hugo Chavez that nationalized their oil, if I'm correct?
Uncle Hugo, yes, Uncle Hugo nationalized their oil. In fact, Maduro was the vice president under Hugo Chavez and also foreign minister. So
Wow.
So he took over after Chavez left and has continued in the same traditions.
See, now that part I did not know that part. So that is definitely very, very interesting that he was the vice president there. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end.
How do you think, obviously the great American question, right? When it comes to Venezuela and the Middle East, let's say we decide to enter Venezuela, and of any significance, right? How do you think that's going to roil the markets, crude oil?
Well, initially it'll probably increase the cost of oil whenever there's a conflict in an area where oil is present. We know that from the Middle East, and especially if other supplies, if you're stopping supplies from Russia from getting bought, that means that it would Venezuela, if that oil comes off the market, then you're going to see an increase, or at least a temporary increase until they figure out what to do and what the outcome of any potential conflict would be there. It would be very important because that either Venezuelan oil gets back into the global economy or it stays within the authoritarian economy.